Hey y'all, so there was a big update to Unity Asset Transformer Toolkit, formerly known as Pixie's plugin. This is all part of the Unity industry license. So this is intended for those that are working in spaces like automotive, architecture, aerospace, medical, retail, etc. More of the non-gaming folks, because this tool is specifically geared towards importing BIM, CAD, and other types of non-polygonal data. So to jump right into it, because I really don't want to belabor the point at all, I'm just going to go into the package manager and find Asset Transformer Toolkit. Again, this is an entitlement of the industry license, and you'll see in the version history all of the different pieces that were just fixed or added. So a lot of the added pieces here, you have rule engines running in background threads, you have different file formats that we're now importing. You have a bunch of new UV tools. You even have ambient occlusion baking directly in the Vertex color. So let's look at a couple of these. And frankly, as all of you know, I'm more of a technical artist. So I'm going to focus on some of the cool stuff here of ambient occlusion baking in the Vertex color, how to use that in a shader, and maybe just a creation of some nice UVs. So let me go ahead and come out here and do import model. This is that tried and true model that I typically use that's an assembly file of a radial engine. So we'll use our usual motor group radial engine asset that's an assembly file. All right, so now I have the get node. It is selecting on that .iam. I'm going to say go ahead and get every piece of this and import it. So let's just import it by default. And I don't really want to pull in anything else. Just want to see what it's going to look like in my scene. So from here, I can drag that prefab in. So this is what it looks like by default directly from within the editor. Again, this is an assembly file that has been tessellated and optimized and exported for me. So now I can go back into the rule engine. And if any of you are looking for kind of a baseline, what is this tool? How do I start using it? I'll have a video in the description that you can check out as well. So if I go into the rule engine and I say, hey, I want to filter what we're looking at by a component. And let's say if you have a component of a mesh filter. So do you have a mesh on you? If you do, then let's go into mesh, bake ambient occlusion. And I'll put the denoiser at medium. And that's it. We'll do it on UV channel 0. You can see right now if I go into the debugger mode and go down into both vertex color, which is all white, as well as if we look at any ambient occlusion in here in the asset itself within the material, that there's really no ambient occlusion that we're using here. We have an occlusion map that's here by default. But what I want to do is instead go ahead and come back out into this rule set and bake the ambient occlusion map into the vertex color. Last thing I want to do is just turn on including subhierarchies and making this a recursive search so it doesn't just apply on the root node, but instead everything underneath it. Let's go ahead and run this. One nice thing here is as it's running, I can click on this window right down here, and it will actually show me up above what's taking which amount of time. So right now we're just hanging on that bake ambient occlusion. So now we can see as it times out, and it now shows us over here in the scene that our ambient occlusion is indeed baked into our vertex color. Now the next thing that I see is that I don't have any UVs on this. So this is one of the neat times that I can just go in and create a new rule set. So if I want to come over here and go to create, and then I can find the asset transformer, create a new rule set and call this UVs. And now I can just come over here and do UVs and create. And I'm just going to say, go ahead and create these, go to channel 0, and I'm good with the UV size as well. So again, we're on UV channel 0. It all came through with none. If I just want to select this asset and hit run, it is now all UV'd for me. The map is surely nothing too grandiose, as you can see some seams along here. So it's done kind of a basic map for me, but there are a number of UV operations in here that you can do, like repacking, normalizing, or even removing UVs. So there's a lot of goodness in there as well. So let's say I want to come in here and create a new material, and I'll just leave that as new material. I want to apply to it a shader that can use the new ambient occlusion that I'm referencing here. I do want to point out that the ambient occlusion that I'm using does not require a UV map to be made. I just thought it was another cool piece to demonstrate. So let me come over here and I'll go into shader graph. And within shader graph, I'm actually going to use the new from template. And from here, maybe I want to do a lit basic, let's say. So something pretty basic. I'm going to call this AO. And now from here, I have one thing that goes into the ambient occlusion from a sample texture, but I don't want to pull it from that. So let's say I want to pull this instead from Vertex color. And I'm still going to leave this occlusion strength as a multiplier that's external, so I can tweak that outside into ambient occlusion. And now I can save this out. If I come back over into the scene, I go back into lit mode, and then I want to create one more rule set, and let's say create asset transformer rule set, matte override. I'm just going to create a set material to this. I'm going to click that and run it. And now I can take the material in the inspector, make sure that it's using my AO. And now that it is using the AO, we can see here that I need to not really do anything in order to change and administer the occlusion. So as I move the occlusion strength up and down here, you can now see that the occlusion map is baked into the Vertex color. I no longer have to waste memory on getting a texture or a map in here to handle AO. So if you're doing something like an HMI or something on a very lightweight chipset, this is often the only real way to get ambient occlusion into a model. And as you can see, having applied nothing else to this model, the ambient occlusion actually adds a lot of realism to this thing. So as I get in here closer to the cracks and crevices, and I amp that ambient occlusion up, it really starts to look nice. So these are two of the many tools that were just released. Just wanted to walk you all through it, make sure you're aware of the new releases, and encourage you to go and check it out for yourself. As usual, I hope you're having a great day. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.